The Wii. I made so many of my earliest gaming memories from just this thing alone. I guess you could say that to a certain degree. A little game called, what was it? Bird Pirates. Yeah, I mean, maybe I have some sentimental value over that, but this shaped me. The memories I had with this thing, I honestly look back on pretty fondly, even if it was as simple as just getting really hyped up over Wii Sports Resort 100-pin bowling. One of the greatest things that that Wii Sports Resort would ever bring to the table. But among other things, there's so many great games you can find on here. I mean, you kind of have to shovel away the shovelware, as I geniusly put it. But you'll find some genuinely great times from this console alone. But I must mention, this is not what I used to have. It was actually this thing. This is the RVL 101 revision of the Nintendo Wii. For a system that was already a budget console, they decided, alright, let's go ahead and cut costs even further. And they did this by, removing an integral part of the system. You see, notice how you can't just pull this off anymore. That's because they removed the GameCube controller ports and the memory card ports. So essentially what they did is they removed the GameCube functionality, or so they thought. It's kind of funny considering that this does kind of, foreshadow what's going to be talked about in this video, even though I assume you've seen the title already and know what to expect clicking on said title. This thing is so much like a GameCube that they just couldn't remove the functionality. Not even the Wii Mini can stop you from playing GameCube games. It doesn't feel the same, of course, considering that there's no ports, it can't read discs. But, 7 years after the Wii Mini's release, the hacking community would literally prove to us that, hey, we figured it out. You can play GameCube games on the Wii Mini because literally it's just a souped up GameCube. That's kind of the crazy part about all this, I believe that I had been using the Wii for upwards of about 9.5 years. I did get a lot of use out of it, like I said. But then something started to happen. The disk drive was starting to fail. My games wouldn't read the discs properly. So I was just kind of like, oh well, I guess I'll have to hack it then. I already did this prior, but I really did not do too much with it. All I remember actually doing was getting the Homebrew channel on the NAND. I put Revolution on there, followed by putting like a handful of emulators, maybe like 3, and I would play bootleg games because that was fascinating to me at one point. But that was kind of all I did with it. I mean, I put a couple of folders following that, but other than that, I really did not do much with it. But when the disk drive really started to not work and I made the realization that I couldn't actually play physical games on it anymore, I took it upon myself to actually do the things that I considered risky for the time, and that was getting backups to work. And while I was at it, I would put more forwarders and other, Wii channels on the system menu, followed by custom themes. Stuff that, if you don't know what you're doing, you can brick the system, except I know what I'm doing now. And I've essentially applied the knowledge I have now to this used Wii replacement console that I bought from Florida a couple weeks ago. It took like a week to ship. I tweeted obsessively about it. That's just how I am. Did you know that I'm obsessed with this console? But yeah, the condition that this was in was actually pretty spectacular, if I'm being honest. Aside from, like, one smudge mark somewhere, and, there is this permanent mark right here. I can't do anything about it, but it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters all that much. It works really well. Maybe this is a little bit flimsy, but maybe it was always like that. But besides all of that, I was pretty impressed with the overall condition that this was in. This was not factory reset before it got shipped over to me, so I got to see the save data, as any Wii owner would do when they get a used console. I believe the save data included Wii Sports, Wii Play, Super Mario Galaxy, Mario Kart Wii, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, WarioWare Smooth Moves, there was a Rock Band game, and there's a Surgeon Simulator game on here as well. And Another fun little fact, there was a free game inside, and that game was Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I already have a physical copy of the game, but what was noteworthy about this, by the way, I have my tripod really close to my leg, so sorry if it kind of shakes around a little bit as I'm recording this. I don't intend for that to be the case, but either way, there was a copy of Super Smash Bros. Brawl in the disk drive that was just kind of left in there, and it was in better condition than the Super Smash Bros. Brawl copy that I had been playing on for years. I packed hundreds of thousands of hours into... No, not hundreds of thousands. I packed thousands of hours into Brawl on my other copy, and I might have dropped it behind the Entertainment Center stand a handful of times, to a point where maybe some of the contents don't read correctly anymore. Example being Ganondorf. If he's even mentioned in memory, the disc just refuses to read. I don't know what the deal with that is. But, you know, this disc actually works flawlessly, and so I did the sneaky, nasty little move I like to call the swip swap. I swapped the two discs around, and now I have the better copy, while the worst copy is just kind of stored away somewhere. I might try to sell it after I clean it up, of course. You never know. $15, anybody? For a standalone disc and no case. But yeah, either way, pretty nice little find. I've always wondered, that seems to be a bit of a trend whenever anybody that ends up on the YouTube Shorts algorithm just kind of buys a used Wii, and then they just kind of open the disk drive and, oh, look, there's a free game inside. Like, do the people selling these actually, are they aware of the fact that they left a game behind, or did they do this intentionally? Like, it kind of makes me wonder. I mean, they have no reason to upgrade to the RVL 101, alright? Unless they just want a lesser Wii, then fine, go ahead. But also, you've already gotten this, and this I don't know. It just doesn't seem very smart or wise. But maybe they kind of left it in there because, you know, bundling a free game. To be fair, you can't do a whole lot with the Wii without a game. So I mean, that's one way to do it. There's a disc drive in there. But yeah, basically, I think it's kind of interesting. Again, I don't know how intentional it is. A lot of people just seem to leave it behind. But you know what? It's whatever. Anyway, pretty much as soon as I got this out of the box, I jailbroke it. And something about doing that for the first time on, like, you know, again, for the very first time, which the last time I did so was probably like 7 or 7.5 years ago. I find it kind of hard to believe that it's been this long, and there's something kind of, like, very nostalgic about doing it for the first time again in over that amount of time. So I genuinely had fun with it. I already had a lot of the files I needed, so basically what I did is this SD card, it has a handful of like retro ROMs in here, as well as a bunch of applications. I also have the files for Mario Kart Wii Deluxe, which is an enormous mod pack for Mario Kart Wii. It adds a bunch of new tracks and new characters. Pretty cool stuff. And this right here is an SD card reader that has an SD card that is 256 gigs, and it's also full of GameCube games, Wii games, and it's also got WiiWare WADs on here, as well as PS1 games. I'm going to be showing all of this off in this video right here, right now. The rambling will only get worse. This is kind of the point of this entire video. I will be following it up with a commentary-less version of this tour, in case any of you are more interested in the traditional style of showcasing hacked Wii menus. I also just wanted, like, in this video to be an excuse for me to ramble. And if that's not your cup of tea, you don't have to keep watching. It's totally fine. I get it. But with all this being said, I think it's time that we finally get this show on the road. I'm gonna go ahead and move this a little closer into frame so that, you know, it looks a little bit cooler than before. I got all my recording equipment pretty much in line, so, you know, that's pretty much all that I could truly ask for. Also, shout out to some of the awesome things that I did recently on this thing. Alright, so I'm gonna do the thing that I see a lot of people do when they do these hacked Wii guides, or not guides, tours, and they kind of just give an overview of what to expect, and then they kind of just, you know, actually dive knee deep into the folders themselves, except that I'm going to be going into an excruciating amount of detail on each of them and my experiences with some of these channels. Starting off, of course, with the disc channel. It didn't lag as much as the last time, and I'm also not recording this on 9/11. Also, shout out to the accordion box for holding up my stand. So, okay, there really is not much to say about the disc channel other than, you know, you get yourself a disc and you can put it in there and you get a nice little banner with a nice jingle to go along with it. I know that there are some games that just do not try to do this at all, which I think is pretty funny to a degree, but you know, there's something charming about it. Even if whoever developed the game didn't try so hard with the banner, I think it's fine. I think it's totally fine. Fun fact though, on the far left corner of the screen, not the corner, the far left side of the screen, is supposed to be a DVD icon. You can't see it normally. That's because you need to edit the beer.will.at file inside the BIOS in order to basically unhide it. And once you do that, then you can see that this thing was actually meant to have DVD playback functionality. I will be getting back to that soon. But, you know, aside from all the cool little, like, jingles and whatnot, I don't think there's anything else to really mention about the disc channel, so we're just gonna move on to the Mii channel. I mean, you kind of just come here and, you know, if you're boring, you can just make yourself and then call it a day. If you lived, you would basically use this thing to make a horrible monstrosity. But like, I don't know, the Mii channel, this was a pretty great addition overall, and of course it was so good they just had to kind of keep bringing it to new systems each time around. Wii U, 3DS, Nintendo Switch. I mean, why would they not? It's so iconic. But along with, you know, the fact that you can do a lot with the Mii Maker as it is, I just think it's super charming. I did actually bring over something I actually find kind of interesting is that the person that owned this previously apparently didn't have any Mii data. So I'm led to believe that when they played games like Wii Play and Wii Sports, they just use the default ones. But in a way, I actually think that that's a pretty wise tactic. You know, all the default built-in console Miis are just really boring to look at, so they would encourage you to go and make yourself. Or an abomination. I mean, nobody's stopping you, you know? It doesn't even have to be you. It can just be, like, a bunch of girls that you just came up with on a whim and put them into Tomodachi life. I would never do something like that, right? Overall, though, the Mii channel is pretty awesome. Even though, okay, I'm not going to talk too much about the Miis I actually have on here, but there's something very cursed that I want to bring up. I know those are probably... There he is! It's Alien! I actually thought that he was just on my Wii U. But that's kind of cool. This is from the Alvin and the Chipmunk. Imagine I just didn't elaborate from there. In case you're wondering, yes, the entire cast is inside of this console. Why? Speaking of which, if you want to back up all of your Miis to you like from one console to another, you can use a tool called Save Game Manager GX. I have a folder of that too that I'll be showing off soon. And you'll have to make sure that you also set the flag that makes them editable on the console. I mean, I feel like that's pretty important. But also, it's worth mentioning that I actually have a Mii that's completely left behind on the other console, and he's literally named non-applicable. I want him to be the most nothing Mii possible, least amount of expressions, the smallest, the most pale face, and I could not import him over. I can't imagine why that might be. Alright, next up we got the photo channel. I did this as a silly, like fish. We all love fish at the end of the day. The photo channel is probably one of my favorite additions, pre-packaged in with the Wii. Like I said, there's something about how, you know, you probably don't have a game yet, but also they have stuff like this to keep you distracted. The Nintendo Switch doesn't even do that. I find that to be kind of insufferable. But yeah, like they have the photo channel. You just put in an SD card or you look at the message board and you can look at photos stored on there. I just think that that's such a charming little thing. They didn't have to do any of this, but the fact that they did and packed it in is just, it's honestly pretty great. And of course, it only gets better knowing that on top of being able to look at photos, rotate them, create slideshows with you know, pre-packed music that also sounds fantastic. I actually love the photo channel soundtrack. But they also let you pick your own music that you can import on the same SD card, and, you know, pair that with your slideshows as well, something that I also think is really neat. But on top of all of that, you can also go to the fun category, apply crazy little filters, doodle all over them, and you can turn them into puzzles. Again, I should mention that there's no practicality behind this, but I think that it's wonderful. And I thought about how, you know, what if Nintendo brought this back on... I think it would be most likely that they would bring it back on the new Switch console or the Switch 2 or whatever that leaked prototype was supposed to be, considering the fact that, you know, apparently, according to somebody on Twitter, which, you know, doesn't say a whole lot, it's apparently going to have a new mic and it's going to have a new camera built into the system itself, or something along those lines. And if there were to be a new photo channel, I just get the feeling that Nintendo would charge money for it, which I think would only be justifiable if they took the photo channel and they really fleshed it out, if they really packed it and crammed it with features. But even then, I don't really think that that can entirely justify putting it up for money. I mean, if it was even $5, people aren't going to budge, and they're going to rely on that for the fate of any sort of photo channel revival on modern hardware. So for now, we're kind of stuck with this, and we're also, you know, we're also kind of vibing with the Nintendo DSi camera, which I believe, the Nintendo DSi camera, which lets you mess around with photos, I don't think that those features are even in the Nintendo 3DS camera app, so that's a little disappointing, but... you know what, it's fine. I did find a way to obtain it, so that's kind of, you know, it's pretty cool. But yeah, overall, photo channel is pretty fantastic. Moving on, we of course have the Wii Shop channel. Unfortunately, it's a useless channel because of the closure of it in 2019. The Nintendo made a great effort to preserve a lot of their older titles, and putting TurboGrafx 16 and Neo Geo games on here, say less. And on top of all of that, they also put in original games that you couldn't find anywhere else. Very small little titles made by individual publishers for, like, you know, 500 or 1500 Wii points if, you know, they felt like it. Some really great exclusives you literally can't get anywhere else. That's the unfortunate thing, mostly about the closure of the Wii Shop channel. Even though that there was, like, a decent amount of titles that just aren't really there to at least grab my attention, there's a lot of really great titles on here that are fantastic, and I don't know, are they ever getting re-released? I mean, I think Line Attack Heroes, which was only in Japan, I think that got a Switch port, Switch port or Switch remake, I don't really remember. It's still on original hardware there if you're interested. I can't get the English translation to work on this thing, by the way. But yeah, Wii Shop channel, probably the best that they've cared about things like emulation. Even as bare bones as it is, it's still pretty amazing. You know, the effort they put into it, they would kind of improve upon it on the Wii U, except they would kind of butcher it in the process. And Switch Online is fine. I'm not going to make this about emulation, though. I still think that the Wii Shop channel, in terms of... okay, I want to kind of talk a little bit about this, or at least kind of bring up a bit of an interesting little question. Does anyone just kind of find, like, certain unintuitive aspects of, like, a Nintendo's older UI to be kind of charming? Like, am I just crazy for saying that, or do I have a point here? Like, I don't know. It's not unintuitive to a point where it's miserable to scroll through it. There's just kind of something nice about seeing all the icons, seeing all the titles. I don't know, maybe I'm the only one that feels this way. Or I could be wrong. Honestly, let me know. I'd be curious. We, of course, have the Forecast channel. This, once again, proved that Nintendo was just doing more than just making a game console. They wanted this thing to basically be in a bunch of people's households, in the households of people that don't even really game that much. But even those that don't game, understood the simple, intuitive nature of the Wii Remote. Not only can you do a lot with the controller on its own, but also people knew, okay, that's how you baseball, that's how you ping pong, that's how you swing a sword, that's how you box. That's, like, Nintendo knew what they were doing with this thing. They did a wonderful job at, in a way, kind of reinventing gaming as a concept and kind of brought people of all generations together for like something as simple as tennis on a game console. Like, I don't know. I just think that in a way that's kind of magical. The Wii executed that extremely well. And then in terms of adding things like the forecast channel, again, this just proves that Nintendo wanted this to be more than just a game console. And there isn't much to it. You can look at the weather. It doesn't have it most likely doesn't have your hometown unless you're in, I don't know, Seattle, where, you know, why would you even need to check? It just rains. That's all that goes on over there. But it also includes a globe feature, which I think is really neat. I don't know. They did not have to do this, and they did, and that's awesome. Then, of course, we got the news channel. It can't obtain the news, like, at least here, but, you know, it was showing some earlier in this video, as you probably might have noticed. I also don't have too much to say about the news channel, other than the fact that, you know, you can browse the news. And you can also, it also has a globe feature, I think, where you can also look at news from around the world. You can browse topics, you can look at articles and images attached to said articles. The Donald Trump mugshot, yep, you can read the article about that on the news channel. Overall, I don't have too much to say about it, but I just think it's a very interesting thing to include. Following that up with the internet channel. So, alright, it's not really a secret that the internet channel on the Wii is not much better than that on its previous console, the Nintendo DS. I actually just think that me bringing up the Nintendo DS's internet browser is pretty funny, because it just makes me think about that Scott the Woz moment, where a young Scott, like, he could have just gotten a normal DS game, and instead he got a $30 retail browser for the DS. It retailed for $30, by the way. Did I mention that yet? Oh man, it was not very powerful. Even if you used the memory expansion or one of the DS revisions, it just was not powerful enough to run most websites that were available at the time. And the internet channel on here, it's not that much better. Like, yeah, the Wii is more powerful to a degree, but it's just not enough for an internet browser, man. Like, yeah, if you're lucky, you can get it to work, but why would you need to? I have seen people basically attempt revivals of this channel. Things like WeNet.xyz, it brings a handful of Flash games to the internet browser, and I think they're trying to bring back YouTube to some degree, which I think is pretty cool. There's also there's a release on GitHub that literally allegedly makes it so that you can essentially browse modern websites on like really old machines like Windows 95, authentic Windows 95, using like really old versions of Windows Explorer. Something I think is really cool, but when I actually looked into how to get it set up, which I believe, even though it wasn't built specifically for the internet channel on the Wii, apparently it's supposed to allow you to do something like that. But then when I started reading into how it's supposed to be done, I was just like, what am I doing? I don't understand any of this. I might try to tackle it at one point. I mean, I just think it would be funny to log onto my Discord account and just type onto the USB keyboard plugged into my Wii and just be like, hey guys, I don't need my gaming PC anymore. I got a Wii. What do you guys think? rate the whip or something? I don't know. But either way, it's just cool that they made an internet channel, even if it's not really that practical. There is like another variation of this for the Homebrew channel, which is known as the Wii browser. I was never able to get that to work. Not even going to like google.com to look at cat pictures. Like that just doesn't work, but it works here. What's their excuse? I'm not gonna knock them too hard for that. We got Everybody Votes channel. You basically just go on and you vote in the election I think people should care about. Whether that's, you know, do you want to be famous, which a lot of people want to be famous for some reason, unless they just want to give money away. That's a fair argument, I suppose, but also, do people not understand how much it would suck to just get recognized and just get recorded and posted online without your consent, and pretty much people just kind of walk up to you all that? I don't know, I'm not going to get into that debate. But you know, the Everybody Votes channel, it's a cute little concept. You can vote on polls, and you can predict what the winning vote is gonna be, and then your me gets really depressed when the winning vote is not what you predicted. So yeah, it's a nice little channel overall. Not much else to really say. I guess the same could probably be said about Wii Room. This was actually a Japanese exclusive channel that got localized here thanks to the WeLink team, I believe. Wii Room, I don't have too much of a strong interest in this particular channel. From what I've seen, you're yourself and you're in a room. No shit, Sherlock. And you can basically watch videos, I think, from what I've seen. There's also a shop, which apparently you can buy, like, souvenirs for fun. But from what I've seen, I don't know how the WeLink team is going to re-implement that, especially since it uses Wii Points, which on the Wii Shop channel, even before, like a year before its closure, they literally made it so you couldn't add Wii Points to the Wii Shop channel anymore at a certain point, so that made doing that impractical. I don't know, there isn't too much to Wii Room from what I've seen. The video playback, it either doesn't work so great, or it works great later on, or it works flawlessly. There isn't really an in-between consistent results. I did watch some weird Japanese cartoon or something. I didn't understand any of it because I don't speak Japanese. I got to learn how to finally connect my 3DS to the internet. It's jailbroken, by the way. But yeah, Wii Room, it's novel. It's just, I'm not that interested in it, if I'm being honest. I don't even know what I'm doing half the time. But, you know, it's a channel. I might hold on to it, I might not. You never know. Following by the Today and Tomorrow channel, again, not too much to say about this one. It's a horoscope. It gives you suggestions on what you could eat, what activities you can partake in, you know, advice on things like self-care, which I do think is important. But yeah, not much left to really say about that. It also has like a luck meter, which I guess increases the more you use the channel. So, you know, that's also, it's a cute little channel, also very optional, but for some reason it's very storage heavy. It's 224 blocks for some reason. I don't know why it's so much of a gigantic channel, but whatever, alright. Following that by the Check Me Out channel. I'm not interested in partaking in these other than just looking at me's that have been uploaded over the years. Yeah, Check Me Out channel is pretty cool. It really goes to show that the me maker can really just be pushed to its absolute limits to make some really crazy creations. I met the friends of a SpongeBob me that I saw, and you know what? I'll let the clip speak for itself. Revisiting the Check Me Out channel, thanks to like Reconnect, was like the greatest decision because okay, I found a SpongeBob me, or one that very much looks like SpongeBob. I hit the Call Friends button because I didn't know what it did. There's so many of them. Why are there so many SpongeBobs? It's just, I don't know. It's pretty charming. You can vote on me's in contests. I think its European name sounds a little bit cooler because, you know, it's me contest channel. It's literally a me contest channel at the end of the day. And there's one that was literally about the Trump mugshot, which is incredible. But yeah, that's the Check Me Out channel. Again, there's not a whole lot for me to say about it. You just let me not make this awkward anymore. This is the food channel. Now, this was actually Damae channel, or I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. This was only in Japan, and it got localized here thanks to the Reconnect 24 team. I think, I don't remember. There are two groups that were working on reviving these channels, which I think is really cool. And the food channel was Japanese exclusive, and it would allow you to actually order food in Japan only. But somehow, the team managed to allow you to order Domino's. US and Canada only, sure, but you could order Domino's from here. Allegedly. There is no hard, concrete evidence that that is indeed the case. I will be finding out for myself at one point later on in my adult life. I don't think I want to bleed out on the side of the road until I've ordered Domino's from the food channel. And, okay, I know some of you would probably be like, they should just add more than just Domino's to the channel, but I think that the fact that this even got added in the first place and that they got it working is nothing short of really, really impressive. And I don't think we should push the team to just add more and more, because I mean, how can you convince Domino's, hey, we're bringing back a channel that was only in Japan on the Nintendo Wii? Do you think you could allow customers to order from it? Like, very specific. This is a very specific scenario, all right? Like you're not going to a Domino's directly to get a large pepperoni pizza. You're jailbreaking a Nintendo Wii and then putting a channel that was localized in America on it using a WAD manager. Alright, these are very specific circumstances. How do you think they would budge? Well, apparently Domino's did, which is, again, that's insane to think about. I don't know if McDonald's or Wendy's are gonna necessarily budge. We'll have to see later down the line. If they actually manage to do that, I would be very, very impressed. Next up, we got the Kirby TV channel. Oh man, very exclusive channel that released, I think, in 2010 or 2012. It was airing episodes of the first 2 seasons of Kirby Right Back At Ya, and it was European only, I think. And it would discontinue in 2012 until well, I don't know if the dates are entirely correct, but it would be revived in 2018, and then it would discontinue forever, along with the rest of the internet services of the Nintendo Wii. So I think it's pretty cool. The playback is flawless, by the way. I have absolutely no complaints. I saw the first episode of Kirby Right Back At Ya, and I pointed and laughed when I saw the scene of Kirby falling down the mountain. The cliff, actually. And that was just, like, I had to. It's the meme, guys. It's the, ah! You can also go to a section and basically answer some riddles to unlock episodes that you might have missed. So that's pretty cool. I believe there's 56 episodes in total, or maybe I'm just incorrect on that. I might have to do my research. I don't know necessarily what the legality of this is. I don't think, considering that Kirby Right Back At Ya has been uploaded in full on YouTube, every single English dub episode I've ever seen was on YouTube, and that's how I've watched the entire series. But yeah, maybe because there's basically no other releases for Kirby Right Back At Ya that legally there nothing much is really happening. I don't know. I'll do a little bit of research on it, because I do think it's kind of interesting that this show probably did take off at one point, but it just, I don't know, it hasn't really been re-released or has been re-airing in any capacity. But yeah, that's Kirby Right Back At Ya channel. I mean, no, that's the Kirby TV channel. I said it wrong. Next we got the Homebrew channel. Even those that aren't even a part of the Homebrew scene, they know what the Homebrew channel is. The fact that they went with this specific aesthetic with this particular theme, it's perfect. And you know, the community would know this because they would just adopt the Homebrew channel's overall aesthetic and, you know, put it on the 3DS, the Wii U. Like, they kind of just had to. Like, it's so iconic. People that don't even have interest in hacking understand the significance of the Homebrew channel. And it pretty much is the bottleneck of allowing all of this to be possible in the first place. Following that up with Retag, I don't entirely know what this is, other than, you know, think of it as a gamer tag, but it's for the Nintendo Wii, for the Reconnect services. I went here and I was like, oh, that's like 4 coins or something? Like, I have one. You can connect your Discord account to it, and you can kind of just manage your updating image. I don't really know what it's for, to be completely honest. It just kind of exists. Anyway, Wii Explorer, it's a very useful utility for, you know, all of your file management needs. I think that anyone that has a hacked Wii should absolutely pick this one up. It even has an FTP server that works really well, so, you know, in that regard, I recommend it. It's got a lot of quality of life features added to it and whatnot, and this is actually the supersonic revision, so it has a couple of new features. I don't know if the FTP server is like a new thing to this version of Wii Explorer, but I believe it has some optimizations and new features added. Like I said, I think it's very cool that's here. Up next, we got Wii Flow. I'm using Wii Flow because this card right here, USB loader GX likes to ignore it now. This is the all-in-one backup loader for, you know, your Wii endeavors or something. Got a lot of games on here. I'll be showcasing them a little bit later. I find this forward to be kind of funny, but also it just goes kind of hard. It's glowing and it's just lightninging all over the place with this silly little track to back it. I don't know. There's something about that I just think is very charming. Very old forwarder. It might have even dated a little bit, but it's awesome. Following that up with Revolution, the definitive on-the-fly game patcher for your Wii. Yeah, this was one of the earliest experiences I had with modding. I would put this on my original Wii, and I would basically just play mods of like New Super Mario with this Wii, Mario Kart Wii, and Super Smash Bros. Brawl here and there, except I was just devastated that I couldn't play Mewtwo. But, you know, Revolution is pretty awesome when you have a working disk drive. I do now. I didn't before, at least in recent times. And yeah, overall, very nice aesthetic. I like the music. It's pretty cool. Following that up with WiiMod Lite. It's the definitive WAD manager that I believe a lot of the modding community says is the safest that you can pretty much use nowadays. Ones like Pimp My Wii and Wayne and Coco's original WAD manager and multi-mod manager. A lot of people are like, this isn't safe, don't use it anymore. Like, has there been reported cases of it just not working that great? Like, I get it. I listened to the guides. I didn't want anything happening to my Wii because I installed a WAD with a WAD manager that apparently doesn't work so great anymore. So there's that. And I also just like this forward. It's very inviting. I like the aesthetic. It's got a nice little tune to go along with it. And it's also got a decent amount of features that I think are pretty cool. And yeah, this is pretty much the tool that I use to literally get all of these channels on the system menu in the first place. And I recommend you do the same. Now I'm hoping that when I press this button that my Wii isn't going to freeze. Awesome. I don't have to force it to shut down again. This is my Menuify. This is how I get my custom theme onto my system. I actually have a couple of them, but like I want to talk about this forwarder, okay? This screeches, dare I say, the 2010 era of Wii hacking. How, like, some of these themes are just not that polished, but the people that made these they're probably like teenagers most likely. And they looked at this for the time and they were like, this is the most badass thing I have ever created. And like, I just think that that's super charming. And yeah, I of course have a couple of really great, amazing themes on there as well. Anyway, this is Save Game Manager GX. Like I said, I use this to put all the save data from this console over to this one, as well as import all the Mii data. I absolutely think you should do the same. If you're worried that your console is just going to get dropped off a 42-story building, you'll have all your save data on an SD card, so that's pretty cool. This makes it really, really simple and intuitive to get it working, so I think that's pretty cool. Not much else to really say on that department. We got Boot Me, which is, you know, I should probably scan my system later down the line, considering that I'm not sure, you know, where my system really stands in terms of, you know, what bad blocks there might be on here. But yeah, this is like, you know, brick protection, NAND backupping, and stuff like that. It's got a file browser. I don't care too much about that. You know, this paired with preloader is pretty much the way that you can get yourself out of a brick. Pretty awesome stuff. Following that up with, alright, Wii MCSS. Alright, so I'm going to talk the most about this. Alright, so remember when I talked about the DVD functionality of the Nintendo Wii? Nintendo planned this to be a feature on the system, and they scrapped it. And they scrapped it because, you know, even though Sony could afford to pay Dolby the licensing fees and the rights for every individual console that they sold, by the way, that came with DVD functionality. A lot of people attribute, in a way, the success to the fact that you could watch movies on the PS2. Because, you know, you could have a gaming console and a DVD player at the same time. And DVDs were a very, 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 very hot selling item for the time. And the Wii could have actually sold even more if they actually decided, all right, let's add DVD functionality. And they didn't, because they were like, let's not pay for Dolby for the rights. But here's the thing. That doesn't mean that DVD functionality just doesn't exist. Because it does. On certain models, you can not only play back DVDs, but you can also, I'm going to try to do this correctly now, you could also use one of these. This is a USB disc reader. You can plug it into one of the USB ports on the system, and using a program called WMC, you can literally watch movies, TV shows, and listen to music, which I think really completes the overall this is an entertainment center, probably even more so than being a game console, philosophy with the Nintendo Wii. I think this really completes it. I don't like this camera angle. What the hell? WMC not only brings the DVD functionality back, and it literally lets you watch movies. It works, you know, considerably well. You know what I don't understand? There were some versions of this that were like, all right, so the menus are functional, but you kind of have to, like, you have to angle it a certain way because, you know, it's broken. But then I see other people literally just select play the way it was intended. I'm just like, what? I don't know if it works or not. On top of this, you can also watch YouTube videos fairly flawlessly on WMC itself. So I find that to be really cool. You know, this, of course, was keeping in mind that, you know, the YouTube app on the Wii was long since discontinued. And they would bring this back in the form of WMC SS. If you want the YouTube functionality to work, by the way, you do need original WMC in the apps folder in order to in order for this to function here. So, you know, it's just worth keeping in mind. Following that up with Wii Metafin. This is like literally the all-in-one emulator for the Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, NES, Sega Genesis, Game Gear, even Virtual Boy emulator is on here. Sorry, Virtual Boy emulation, and Sega Mega Drive is on here as well. I think this is like probably the greatest in terms of emulation for all of these. Of course, you know, if you want to play Sega CD games, then yeah, you can go ahead and get yourself Genesis Plus GX. Yeah, I actually really like Wii Metafin. It's probably one of my favorite emulators. You probably don't need FCE Ultra GX. You probably don't need VBA Ultra GX or whatever that one is called. It's probably that definitive all-in-one emulator for all your emulation needs or something. I don't know. All right. Following this up with Nintendo. Admittedly, I don't know if I need this on here because I launched all my GameCube games through WiiFlow, but Nintendo is like, how did this happen? Like, it's insane. This is pretty much literally what every Wii owner needs, especially if you got yourself, unfortunately, one of these. But my reason for using Nintendo is because, first of all, GameCube games are really expensive and they're not being re-released. And secondly, I don't have a memory card, so emulating it works perfectly fine using an SD card. And yeah, I just think Nintendo's a great piece of software. It's just, again, I don't know if I necessarily need this forwarder on here. Also, I love the music that they used here. Following this up with SNES 9X RX, it's a Super Nintendo emulator. Is that all I need to say? I don't know. that's probably, you know what? Yeah, that is all I'm gonna say about it. But I do have a couple of things to say about Wii Station. This is a PS1 emulator, as you could probably gather. And okay, PS1 emulation has a very interesting story on the Wii, because the PS1, it's not like powerful, but it's also not underpowered. It's a system that was made in 1995. It was one of the first to take advantage of CD-based technology, which meant that you can make really big games, suffer through load times, and third-party support was absolutely insane on the PS1. The collection overall amounted up to 4,000 plus titles across the globe. I find that to be pretty hard to believe, but it's true. And there was a lot of variations of PS1 emulators on the Wii. One of the earliest ones, I think, was in 2010, and, you know, it basically had no chance of ever reaching a status in which most of the library would be playable in any capacity. But here's the thing, nobody ever gave this up, because a lot of people, including myself, were like, we can make this work. We can make PS1 emulation actually a possibility on the Nintendo Wii. And with so much perseverance and so many optimizations and clever coding, we have Wii Station, which I believe is literally the most optimized for the system. There are literally a bunch of games on here that run at full speed with very minimal or no graphical glitches at all. And I guess that's that can be attributed to how the PS1 is not like a very difficult piece of hardware to understand. It's not like the N64 for sure. But yeah, I think it's really, really, really impressive how far PS1 emulations actually come along on here. I have not tried it out for myself yet, and that's because I have a GameCube controller and not a Wii Pro, Wii Classic Controller Pro. So I think that it would just be pretty confusing to play these games with a controller that the 4 buttons on the front just kind of, you know, they're arranged a certain way. So I'm probably going to go get myself a Classic Controller Pro, check out some PS1 games on that. I've never grown up using shapes for buttons, so it's probably in some regards still going to be kind of confusing, but maybe it'll all click. You never know. Anyway, so we got some game forwarders over here. We got New Super Mario Bros. Wii, you know, my favorite game of all time, followed by Mario Kart Wii. I'm not gonna say too much about the games in particular, because I don't want to. I want to sit you down, not tie you up, I guess is how I can put it. Super Mario Galaxy, Super Mario Galaxy 2. He doesn't say 2 for some reason. We got Super Paper Mario. I haven't played this one yet, but I have seen and heard very excellent things about it. We got Donkey Kong Country Returns, a very good game, I must say. WarioWare smooth moves. Wario Land Shake It. I really like Goodfield's game design, so I am looking forward to this particular title. Super Smash Bros. Brawl, the all-time classic. We got Kirby's Return to Dreamland. We got Kirby's Kirby's Epic Yarn. And then Kirby's 20th Anniversary, followed by The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. And we got The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, except I gotta wait for the title thing to show up, so I'm gonna hydrate so that, you know. There it is, there's the title. Okay, we got Animal Crossing City Folk. We got Wii Sports Resort. And I also have a couple of WiiWare games. We got Castlevania The Adventure Rebirth. I also call this the Problem Child. Let me explain. So, the reason I have a bunch of WiiWare games that, you know, actually work on this thing that are not on the system menu is for a very simple reason. I use WiiFlow's built-in Emunand support. It's not the same as Neek, and I hope to never use Neek ever again because that gave me such a headache. I don't care who out there in the modding community is just like, oh, you know, it's actually kind of easy to understand. I'm not you, okay? So, unsurprisingly, there are some games that either, you know, they probably don't support Emunands. I remember getting the English patch of Line Attack Heroes to get to work on WiiFlow. It doesn't, and I believe the only solution you do have is either emulator or WiiFlow's Emunands. And if you actually try to put the channel on the system menu, if you open the home channel, it just crashes, so that's not practical. Here, same issue, I guess, but I was trying to get a region-free version of this, which should have worked, so then I went out of my way to get a North American version exclusively. It didn't work. I don't really get it. Somebody said that the Rebirth games specifically just don't work with Emunans, but Contra Rebirth works just fine. I haven't actually played any of it, but I got to the menu, I got past the opening cutscene, I got to apply settings, I got to create a save file. It's like, what gives? Why does Castlevania The Adventure Rebirth just not work with Emunans? The only Emunan it works with is Neek, but I just said that Neek is miserable to work with, so I'm not going to use Neek ever again. I learned my lesson last time. But yeah, this game is a remake of a Game Boy Advance game that wasn't so great. I think it's really cool that it has a chance to actually be a good game now. It's pretty cool. Following that up with a Mega Man 9. It's a Mega Man sequel that I believe plays, you know, as close to the classic Mega Man games on NES as can be, I guess. And I mean, I see a bunch of people with hacked Wiis also have Dr. Mario Online RX. I believe it's also got injected with the Wii code, which means I can actually play online with real people, I think. And it looks like a pretty fun little time. Okay, so with all of this out of the way, I am now going to talk about some of the other little things I got on here. We're not done yet. I'm going to now head on over to the Homebrew channel and show you guys some applications that I have on here that I don't have on the system menu. As you can see, I have a couple of themes for the Homebrew channel, which includes one that is supposed to replicate the aesthetic of the Wii settings. Windows Vista, I can't escape Windows Vista, but also this looks pretty nice. And also, I technically grew up on Windows Vista. We got Dark, we got Classic, and I think there's like one other theme on here, but I don't think I have it anymore. We got Wii Bounce, which is literally just, if you ever let a DVD player go idle for long enough, the logo just, like, it starts to turn silly little colors, and it bounces, you know, off of all the sides of the screen, and very rarely, the corners. That's how you snap a finger. That's all that is. Cave X is basically, you know, your favorite block game on the Nintendo Wii implements beta 1.7.3, which I think is a really neat version to basically aim for a Minecraft version on Wii. Really impressive how close it comes to actually feeling like Minecraft. I want to check that out at one point, if I'm being completely honest. I think it's still in like creative mode and it's still very much in development, but I look forward to it. We got Clean Rip. I didn't really have the best luck using Clean Rip, if I'm being completely honest, because Clean Rip is supposed to basically allow you to take your physical discs and then dump them into being ISO files, so you can use them on emulators and you can use them in backup loaders. I was not able to do that, so that kind of sucks. We got DOSBox Wii. I installed this as a joke because I wanted to get Mario Teaches typing to work, and I did. Except I need to do some optimizations to get it actually running at full speed. I don't know if I'm like super interested in DOS gaming. I might look at some videos to get like a catalog of games that I might be interested in. You never know. Games made for the DOS, like in the later 90s, probably are not going to run so great on there, so that kind of sucks. We got Genesis Plus GX. Now, I'm going to load this up to showcase the only game I actually have on this thing, the only game I actually use this to run on. Now, if I can actually show it off, yeah, it's Cupton's Interactive Encyclopedia. It's an encyclopedia for the Sega CD. Remember the hint that I specifically talked about how, you know, Sega CD games on, you know, on this specifically. That was the hint. Anyway, we got the Homebrew browser. I don't use this so often. Boot to preloader. My Menuify. We got Mole, which is literally just, it's a whack-a-mole game that just, it's got crude MS Paint graphics. It's very bare bones. It's got a spelling mistake. It has it all, really. I'm also going to go ahead and show off Not 64. Not a whole lot to really talk about in regards to this, but I got Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, Blast Corps, Bomberman Hero, Conker's Bad Fur Day, Diddy Kong Racing, Donkey Kong 64, Glover, GoldenEye 007, Mario Party 1 and 3, because 2 is on Virtual Console, Mischief Makers, and that. And I think the amount of work that the teams put into the N64 emulation on Wii is really impressive. but I mean, most of it's just not really playable yet, unfortunately, so I'm just kind of keeping it there. Maybe one day a big old update is going to come out, and it's going to fix a bunch of stuff. I got play stats, which basically tells you, you know, how long you've been playing certain games, and which ones. We also got Cybin Action, which is based on that Flash game of Cat Mario that is intentionally built to piss you off. We got System Check, we got, what haven't I talked about yet? Oh yeah, Wii VNC. It's supposed to allow you to control your computer screen through your Wii, which is insane. But also, I don't think I'm gonna try to get it to actually work, at least for a while, because it's complicated. Alright, so basically all the rest of this stuff is on the system menu. I'm just gonna go ahead and launch into some of these, starting off with SNES 9X RX. As I go through my Super Nintendo games that I have on here, which includes Area of Fighters. It's basically like it's a shoot 'em up. It's very difficult. This is a ROM hack of Super Mario World called Call of Cthulhu. We got Contra 3. Got all 3 Donkey Kong Country games. Evu's Search for Eden, Energy Breaker, F-Zero, Fire Striker, Harvest Moon, The Jungle Book, which I actually have as a physical cartridge over there on my on a stand, so that's pretty cool. A Link to the Past. We got Mario Paint. We got Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, a Super Nintendo game I actually found in my parents' garage. So that's pretty interesting. Mickey Mania, The Timeless Adventure, On the Ball, Out of This World, Pink Goes to Hollywood, Stinky Poo Poo Game, Plock, Pocky Rocky 1 and 2, Secret of Mana 2, Star Fox 2, Super Bonk, Super Buster Brothers, Super Mario Kart, Super Mario RPG, Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island, and, of course, you can't forget the cult classic, Super Metroid. Alright, so that's basically that. I'm now gonna move straight on to what's next. Wii Flow. Oh yeah, the biggest collection of games I have on here that are all stored on this. And I actually last time I tried to record this, I actually added some games to the collection. So I'm not trying to do that. Hold on. Well, that's a decent amount of lag. And also, hold on. So sometimes what you need to do is basically reload the cache in order to get some of these to actually show up properly, and some of these aren't even going to have the cover art. Something that I'm going to go ahead and obtain real quick, so that, you know, presentation-wise, it'll look actually pretty solid. I think I gotta download the... Yeah, I do. Alright. Give me like a couple seconds. Oh, it's already done? Okay. Alright, so I don't know in what order to do this in. I really wish it didn't lag to this degree. It kind of makes me uncomfortable. But I guess we'll start alphabetically. I would do this, like I said, I would do this in extreme detail, but I'd rather not, alright? I was even thinking about doing a follow-up where I talk in depth about a lot of these games. I might touch upon some of them if it interests me, but like, no, I don't want to. I'm just going to list them off and show off the bumpers. So I might not talk too much about this. I'm just kind of here to showcase some of this. We got A Boy and His Blob. I got, you know, Animal Crossing City Folk. I have a confession to make. I downloaded this as a joke. My friend was like, I can't remember exactly what the context of this was, but I think it was literally a subreddit community about games that are higher rated, games that are lower rated from Metacritic, compared to Imagine Party Babies. And so then I was like, you know, I think it would be funny if I downloaded this and then just never play it. But I might, just to experience how awful it truly is. The Imagine series just baffles me. I saw how many Imagine games are on DS, and I'm just like, dude, what is going on? That is way too many. Anyway, we got Bit Trip Complete, which is, you know, all those Bit Trip games that were WiiWare exclusives that got packed into an entire package. Not published by Nintendo, or rather, they published it themselves. We got Brave. It's just kind of it's an alright tie-in to the film, a mediocre film at that. I dropped my controller. That's a sign probably. Like it's not too bad. We got The Calling, which is a horror game created by Hudson. Pretty interesting stuff, I must say. It looks really interesting. Normally I wouldn't go out of my way to go and grab this, but I did. And then we got Carnival Games Mini Golf. It was a sad time that day. Alright, we got all 3 Cooking Mama games that I could find. This technically isn't the 3rd game, I don't think. It might be a spin-off of sorts. I also wouldn't go out of my way to get this normally, but Cursed Mountain looks pretty honestly solid. So, as I said, may as well go ahead and get this. That guy's pretty scary looking. We got Epic Mickey, along with its sequel, Epic Mickey 2, which has a very boring forwarder in, not forwarder. It's got a very boring banner compared to the other game. You got Donkey Kong Country. You got Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, which is, of course, based on the GameCube game that now has the new play controls. Definitely doesn't feel the same, but it's whatever. Also, I never played with the bongos, so I don't know what I'm talking about. Active 2 personally, I did not buy this game, but like it's just here because it feels like it. Every hacked Wii is not complete without Active 2 Personal Trainer by EA. And then, you know, do you ever look at something and you're just like, I don't need this, and then you download it anyway? That's how I felt about some of these titles I'm going to talk about. We got Freddy Fish Kelp Seed Mystery. I mean, I like Humongous Entertainment. I played this one in particular a bunch of times growing up. I just don't know if I need it. But then we have Geometry Wars Galaxies. I actually remember seeing this game at one point, I think, and it looked really cool, so I was like, yeah, I'll pick that up. That looks pretty fun. We got How to Train Your Dragon for the Wii. My sister played this the most. It's published by Activision. Damn. We got the Jewel Quest Trilogy. Again, why did I download this? I don't know, okay? Do you expect me to have all the answers in the world? Kirby's Return to Dreamland. We already talked about these, though. Klonoa. That is a very broken little... I hope it gets fixed. Okay, it's fixed. We got Klonoa. On the Wii. I think this might have been a PS1 exclusive, I think, at one point, and they got this is a Wii game now. Legend of the Guardians Owls Look Cool. Again, another game that my sister mostly played. Didn't know that Warner Bros. Games was even a thing. It looks pretty cool. It just didn't really catch my attention personally. And yeah, I got some Lego games. Didn't think that day would come, but here it is. We got Lego Indiana Jones 2, The Adventure Continues. That looked like Panther for a second. We then have, you know, the original Adventures, which is the first game. It was the one that grabbed my attention the most. I feel like a lot of the Lego games play very similarly to each other, if I'm being honest, but maybe I'm talking out of my ass when I say that. We got Lord of the Rings, the Lego game. Lost in Shadow, another Hudson Soft developed game. It looked pretty interesting. And then we got Luxor 3, which is a significant step down from the other titles we were just looking at. Followed by Luxor Pharaoh's Challenge. I don't know, seeing casual games on systems like the DS and the Wii, specifically ones that I remember seeing on my parents' laptop running Windows Vista that was bought all the way back in 2001, just feels very odd. So they're here now. We got Madagascar Karts. Again, I downloaded this as a joke. That's why it's here. Got Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games, and Mario and Sonic at the London 2012 Olympic Games. I'm just not hooked by these, if I'm being honest. Like, I played these a decent bit. I came back. I wasn't impressed. So they're just stuck here for all eternity. We got Mario Party 8, which I've heard is a good Mario Party game, instead of Mario Party 9. Although, I do want to find out at one point, I don't know if this is foreshadowing anything, but I do want to actually find out if Mario Party 9 really deserved the panning and whatnot. But yeah, I got Mario Party 8. May as well have gotten that. Mario Party 9. I do have this game physically. Got Mario Kart Wii. We got My Horse and Me, because no Wii is complete without My Horse and Me, published by an Atari. I don't know whose Atari that is. You see from his Wii. I picked this one up recently. No More Heroes. I say pick this up, which you know implies that I bought it physically. I did not. But yeah, this looked pretty cool. I saw this a couple of times. I don't even know if it's gonna be my game style, but like whatever. We got Order Up. Phineas and Ferb Across the Second Dimension had very good memories with this particular game. Following that up with Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Lands. Forgotten Sands. I saw somebody do a retrospective on this, and it looked pretty cool. Rayman Origins, which honestly has a really boring banner. I wish they did more with it. We got Wii Music. It's Wii Music, alright? It looks great. It looks awesome. Why would I not have Wii Music on here? Oh yeah, also a couple of Sam & Max games. You know, a certain good friend of mine might have gotten me into this to some degree. I definitely want to pick some up on Steam for sure. And SimCity Creator, because I just... You know, some people were really saying that the controls sucked. It didn't look that bad. We have Get Me Out of Here. We have Sin and Punishment 2 Star Successor, I think? Yeah. It also looks pretty cool. I didn't even know that this was a sequel to the N64 game. But this actually looks pretty fun. I definitely want to give this a shot. We got SpongeBob's Boating Bash. This is a game I have a physical copy of because my sister, who works at a thrift store, our local thrift store, mind you, and she was just given this game for free. Also, it was not in like a good condition or anything, but like it's a free game, so like I'll take it. It's a free game for the Wii. Yeah, SpongeBob's Boating Bash. Spore Hero, which some people say is actually a pretty decent little game. Zelda game where it has Spore elements. The game that had such bad DRM that it was the most piratey game ever. Thanks, EA. I'm talking about the original Spore. I'm not talking about this game. But, you know, it's got some Spore elements. I was like, you know, could there be a traditional Spore game on Wii? There isn't, but there is this. So, you know, I am still interested in it. We got Wii Sports. I mean, what can be said about Wii Sports that hasn't already been said already? Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. We got Super Monkey Ball, Banana Blitz. I don't know if this is the greatest, but, you know, we'll just have to find out. I do have Step and Roll. Why are they making those noises, man? We got Tangled. Pretty decent little game from what I remember. That's all that I have to say about it. Tetris Party Deluxe. Also a pretty solid little game that, you know, was a WiiWare exclusive, but then it got put in an actual Wii box. Scarlet Sword. We got Tornado Outbreak, where you're just basically a tornado. I don't know, it looked pretty funny, so I picked it up. Toy Story 3, a video game adaptation of a film that actually looks really cool, so I was like, yeah, I'll go ahead and get that. I don't have to say the name of that. He already did my job for me. And we got Wii Party. This one honestly looks really fun, except I don't have friends, so, you know, better luck next time for me, I guess. Side note, getting a physical copy of this game will suck, because, like, it's like $40, I think. I guess, I don't know, yeah, I'm definitely saying some things. Alright, I'm actually gonna go ahead and probably adjust. This is probably, like, the least laggy, setup I got going on here. I'm also going to go ahead and... Actually, I don't think I got any new GameCube titles recently. But we got... I'm also not going to show the banners for these because they're just images and the GameCube jingle. I'll do it like once. But that's it, you know? It doesn't really... These aren't official banners because every GameCube disc you put in the Wii just shows the GameCube icon. And it doesn't even have the cube doing its iconic little animation, which is... Why? Why didn't they do that? Anyway, we got Alien Hominid, a game that I believe came from Newgrounds, and I think it's very interesting that it got put on consoles like the GameCube. Looks really fun. I believe it's getting remade and put on modern hardware, which I do look forward to. The game looks really charming, and it looks very enjoyable. It's got all the cartoony violence that you could ever ask for, which is why it has a teen rating. And, you know, there's no ESRB rating that has, like, you know, an H in it, which means that, you know, if I wanted, like, the rating systems to spell out teehee, you can't. other than Teat. But why would you want that? We got Animal Crossing, got Bomberman Generation, Chibi Robo, Crash Bandicoot, The Wrath of Cortex, Crazy Taxi, a game I am abysmal at. We got Curious George. I literally just got this because Curious George. Doshin the Giant, a PAL exclusive GameCube game that started off as being a Nintendo 64 disc drive game. Kirby Air Ride, Luigi's Mansion, Mario Kart Double Dash, all the Mario Party games, Mario Golf Toadstool Tour. Not something I would normally get, but like, you know, it looks pretty fun, honestly, and sometimes I just kind of itch for a Mario Golf game. Mega Man Collection, Pac-Man Worlds 2 and 3, Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door. This is getting remastered on the Nintendo Switch, which is really, really cool. I'm glad the best Paper Mario game is getting remade. I haven't actually played Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door quite yet, but I'm about to see what the hype is all about, and I'm sure the hype is worth it. Rayman 3, Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy. I bought this on Steam a while back. Looked really cool. Spyro, A Hero's Tale, I think, Star Fox Assault, Super Mario Sunshine, both Super Monkey Ball games, Super Smash Bros. Melee, Wind Waker, Four Swords, Hit and Run. Oh yeah, you know, I never actually mentioned this early on, but we never did our research, and my parents were like, let's get my sister a copy of Wind Waker and a GameCube controller and a memory card that would not work on this model. It's a good thing we have this now, because whew, what an issue that could have been. But yeah, and she never got to experience the original GameCube version. She could now, it's just she couldn't save because I don't know where the memory card is. But yeah, just kind of cool. I mean, yeah, she can definitely, you know, play the original. Just I would prefer that it would be on here so that, you know, you don't lose any of the progress that you've made. Four Swords Adventures, Simpsons Hit and Run, and Road Rage. Some happen with the cover art for that. We got Wario World. I've been playing this quite a bit recently. This game deserves so much better, honestly. It's such a charming little title. I don't care if you think it's weird. WarioWare Inc. Mega Party Games, very much based on the launch title for GBA. Launch title for the series, not a launch title for the GBA, I don't think anyway. It's based on that. And of course we got Zelda Ocarina Multi-Pack, which is just, you know, Ocarina of Time and a Master Quest, which you would get if you pre-order Wind Waker. Now on to the NAND, which has some titles on here that are Virtual Console and WiiWare titles. Starting off with Adventure Island The Beginning by Hudson Soft. I'm not like the biggest fan of the presentation of it, but I mean, I like Adventure Island, so I might give it a shot. We got And Yet It Moves, which I think requires you tilting the Wii Remote to control the environment. I like games that play out like this, and this also has a very creative little art style to it, so it looks pretty cool. Arkanoid Plus, because, you know, I just cannot get my Arkanoid Plus things. Now this is Astro Bug's Revenge. So this was a game I either played or my mom played on the Macintosh computer years ago. And I was like, wait, they put this on WiiWare? Download. I guess a similar thing can be said about Bejeweled 2. I mean, I think if I were to ever rank casual Match 2 games, Bejeweled is going to be way up there. I actually really enjoy the Bejeweled series. Bejeweled 3 in particular, very solid game. It's got an array of very interesting game modes. Like honestly, I like the Bejeweled series. I'm not afraid to admit it anymore. We got Big Kahuna Party. I actually really enjoyed playing Big Kahuna Reef 2. That one is still the best installment in the series. I don't want any of you telling me otherwise, okay? And this was obviously meant to be multiplayer oriented, so not much really. I don't have friends, so continuing on, we got a Blaster Master Overdrive remake, of course, by Sunsoft, of an NES game, I believe. We got Bomberman Hero on the N64. Now this one I never actually got working for some reason. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. We got Cave Story. This went free on Steam, not Steam, Epic Games not too long ago, which is very cool. The Plus version specifically, this version isn't being sold anymore, sadly, but I am totally down to purchase Cave Story Plus on Steam at one point. Anyway, we've got Contra Rebirth, which like I said, I do plan on actually testing this game extensively to make sure, you know, it actually works properly. Maybe the Rebirth games are problematic, all of them that I have, which isn't much. We got Fluidity. It's a puzzle game involving controlling the environment again and getting some water in places. All there really is to it. And also, yeah, there is some, like, NAND stuff on here that you just can't get rid of, like the Forecast channel and Dr. Mario Online RX. You can't get rid of those for some reason. We got The Will of Dr. Frankenstein. I'm not pulled by this game, if I'm being honest. I played a little bit of it. I'm just... nah, not interested. Like, maybe it'll click with me later. Who knows? We got Happy Hammering, which is just a whack-a-mole game. It doesn't even look like it controls that great, but I was like, it's a whack-a-mole game. It's not mole for the homebrew, so I'll give it a shot. Hubert the Teddy Bear Winter Games. I installed this also as a joke, just to be like, hey guys, I got Hubert the Teddy Bear Winter Games in my Wii Games collection. Hate me. Yeah, makes me want to check out that Peanut Butter Gamer video from like 2011 again. Good times. Jelly Kart 2. This is such an interesting case of, this is a homebrew game. It got put on the Wii Shop channel, like a sequel got made, and it got put up on the Wii Shop channel. That blows me away. It really does. Like, I find that to be really fascinating. Do they know? Does Nintendo know? Probably not. Yeah. Physics-based, you know, racing game, I think. It looks pretty fun, though. I'm willing to give it a shot. Also, okay, another thing I want to mention is that I think this was the only other instance of, like, a homebrew app or a homebrew game getting put on the Wii Shop channel was Kids Paint, and I really wish that this type of thing was done more often. Maybe there are other recorded cases of that happening, but I can't say for sure. Jet Rocket, it's just budget Mario Galaxy from what I've seen. It might be interesting though, so I might give it a shot. La Mulana, PAL exclusive game that is adventure-ish, probably. It looks pretty enjoyable, so I might give it a shot. We got Lost Winds. I don't remember exactly how this one plays out, but it looked pretty interesting. We got a version of it known as Winter of the Michelodius. And it has the exact same music. That kind of bugs me. We got Mario Kart 64, which plays better than Super Mario Kart. Fight me. We got Mario Party 2. We got Mart Racer, because I said, you know what? I'm gonna put Mart Racer on the Wii, from WiiWare on this thing. You can't stop me. It looks pretty goofy. Max and the Magic Marker. This game, I think, would eventually make it onto like modern hardware, and it would get like one hell of a coat of paint. I don't know if it was a good coat of paint, but it was certainly a coat of paint. It was also a DS game, and this was stuck as a WiiWare game for a while. Mega Man 10. I mean, it's, you know, it's just the sequel to Mega Man 9, I guess. We got New Adventure Island on the TurboGrafx 16. I don't know. I don't know how differently this will play. It kind of reminds me of the Super Adventure Island games, which are not the same as the original Adventure Island, but you know, I think this might be an exclusive, and it's on Virtual Consoles, so I was like, you know what, why not? We got Paper Mario. We got Pokemon Snap. We got Rotohex Art Style, which is a puzzle game that I think looks pretty cool. We got Sin and Punishment, the original on N64, Star Fox 64. We got Stop Stress. We got Super Mario 64. Been playing this recently. It's very fun. Super Smash Brothers. We have Tumblebugs 2 for WiiWare. I don't get it. Why do I have this on here? Anyway, we got Uno, which is awesome. Also injected with Wii Fit. Actually, this version I don't think is injected. Actually, no, it might be injected with Wii Fit now that I think about it. Looks fun, though. I want to play Uno with people online and just kind of bully them. Viral Survivor. It's basically, you know, it's a certain take on the Snake formula. It looks pretty fun, though. I actually really want to give this a shot. Actually, no, I already did give it a shot. It's a fun little game, though. I got World View, very well-received WiiWare title. I haven't played it yet, but it looks pretty enjoyable. We got Yoshi's Story, and finally we got Majora's Mask. I almost said Ocarina of Time. Majora's Mask, because this is like the only good way to actually play it on here. And Anyway, that's it in the realm of, you know, the Wii Flow collection as far as that goes. I am starting to run out of steam a little bit, so, you know, we're almost done. That's cool. Let's move on to Wii Metafin. We got like 2 emulators left to go through, so we're not going to have a difficult time doing so. Starting off with Game Boy, we got Alice in Wonderland. Looks pretty cool. It does a good job at utilizing the Game Boy Color's hardware to make some really interesting visuals. Bonk's Adventure, Bonk's Revenge, Boxel, Boxel 2, all the Donkey Kong Land games, Fish Dude, Kid Icarus of Myths and Monsters, Link's Awakening, Deluxe, Oracle of Ages and Seasons, Looney Tunes, Merlin, Metroid 2, Return of Samus, Nail and Scale, Rayman, Shantae, Street Racer, Super Mario Land 1, 2, and 3, Wario Land 2 and 3, Wizards and Warriors Chapter 6, and followed that up with Game Boy Advance titles, which includes Metroid Fusion, Famicom Mini, Twin Bee, Banjo-Kazooie, Grunty's Revenge, Bookworm, Crash Bandicoot, The Huge Adventure, Crash Bandicoot 2, Entranced, Crash Bandicoot, Purple Ripto's Rampage, Crazy Frog Racer. I downloaded this as a joke. Drill Dozer, Elf Bowling 1 and 2, again, as a joke. Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, Kirby Nightmare and Dreamland, Lady Sia, Legend of Zelda the Minish Cap, Mario Luigi Superstar Saga, Mario Kart Super Circuit, Mario Party Advance, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, Metroid Zero Mission, Ninja 5-0, Rayman Advance, Spyro 2 Season of Flame. This is the translation, the fan translation of the Starfy game on GBA. Super Collapse 2, I got kind of obsessed with this game, probably because I played it a lot back then. Uno Freefall, Wario Land 4, followed that by some Master System games, which includes Deep Duck, Trouble, starring Donald Duck, The Lucky Dime Caper, starring Donald Duck, Montezuma's Revenge, featuring Panama Joe, Penguin Land, Shanghai, Wonder Boy and Monsterland. I really don't know what any of this is, to be honest. We got Mega Drive games, though. Alessia, Dragoon, Arcade Classics, Bob, Barney's Hide and Seek game, because why would you hack this and then not include Barney's Hide and Seek game? What are you doing? Decap Attack, Ghouls and Ghosts, Landstalker, Marble Madness, Ristar, Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic the Hedgehog 1, 2, and 3, Spot Goes to Hollywood, Wiz and Liz, Wonder Boy 3, Monster Lair. There's the 3rd game. Damn, I was like, is there going to be another Wonder Boy game? Adventure Island 3, Adventures of Lola 1, 2, and 3. Arkanoid 2. By the way, the reason I have just Adventure Island 3 on here and not 2 and 1 is because I just kind of feel like that the Adventure Island games were, you know, the sequels were just improvements from each other. The Adventure Island 3 game just seemed like the definitive version to play. You didn't have too much of a reason to go back to the other two, because they kind of, I don't know, they just kind of felt too similar to each other. It doesn't really feel like that this has any new game design choices or new level design compared to like the other 2 games, although it's not entirely true. It's just, I don't know, this feels like if there was like one that I could pick that felt like the definitive version, it would probably be that. Arkanoid 2, which I specifically snagged because it has boss battles and it reminds me of some older Arkanoid-esque games that I would play on PC that are pretty cool. Balloon Fight, Donkey Kong, DuckTales 1 and 2, Fruit Shinobi. This is actually based on an NES game that somebody actually built in like recently actually. They challenged themselves to put Fruit Ninja on the NES. I don't know if it actually works with Wii Metafin. I might actually need to go grab FCE Ultra GX in order to get it to work, but you never know. Ice Climber, Jackie Chan's Action Kung Fu. I only know about this game literally because of the fact that Mario Bootleg, remember that? Speaking of bootlegs, here's another bootleg, Kart Fighter. It's just Super Mario Kart with its cast, and you beat each other up. Layla, Legend of Zelda, Metroid, Ninja Gaiden 1, 2, and 3. I actually really enjoy the first Ninja Gaiden game. I've been playing it pretty recently. I don't like the birds though. I don't know why they're so powerful. And I also I'm not like the biggest fan of how enemies will respawn the moment they're killed, and you bring them back to where they would normally spawn. But it's fine. The game is intentionally supposed to be that level of difficult. I get it. Pac-Man, Panic Restaurant, Q*bert, Quick, Super Mario Bros. 1, 2, and 3, and Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, and Zelda 2. Following this up with, that's it. Let's get out of here. And we're going to now talk about the final array of titles, and that is the PS1 games. And that is pretty much where things are going to get ended off. So, going to load from USB, we got 40 Winks, Air Hockey, Alfred Chicken, Animal Snap, rescue them 2x2. I don't ask questions. You're not gonna get good answers. Ballistic, Breakout, Crash Bandicoot 1, 2, and 3. Both Croc games. Emperor's New Groove. This game apparently doesn't run so great. So, you know, it's whatever. I'm gonna wait until one day Emperor's New Groove is gonna be playable on the Wii Station. Maybe one day. Final Fantasy 9, Gex 1, 2, and 3. Glover, which also doesn't work so great on here. Apparently, Glover doesn't even respond to any of your controls. We got Hercules, Killer Loop, LSD Dream Emulator, Medieval 1 and 2, Mickey's Wild Adventure, Pepsi Man, Pink Panther, Pinkadelic Pursuit, which I'm not even kidding. That game's actually really solid, so of course I would put it on here. Roll Away, Skull Monkey, Spyro Year of the Dragon, Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage, Spyro the Dragon, Tetsuya Komoro Gabal Screen. This is a game based on a Japanese musician. And you're a flying shoe, just grabbing CDs of his music. That's something everyone wants to be able to play. The Adventures of Lomax, Threads of Fate, Toy Story Racer, Vib Ribbon. I guess it's worth mentioning that if you're interested in finding out more about these games, I'd say Google them if you're interested. I know about most of these because I binged a handful of videos by various channels that basically worked towards documenting and cataloging every game on every retro console that they could get their hands on. It drove me a little crazy, but it was kind of worth it in the end. Because I have this collection that I probably won't even be checking out, but you never know. Anyway, that is pretty much my entire hacked Wii as we know it, the menu and all of its contents. I appreciate if you watched all the way up to this point, hearing me ramble about stuff. Like I said, I will follow this up with a version that's just, no commentary, it's just the straight content. But I'm going to go ahead and get this edited, and I would like to thank you all for hearing me ramble and joining me on this little adventure. And I hope to see you all in the next one. Take care, everybody.